Hi, my name is Andrea. I am starting this YouTube channel to talk about what it's like to be a woman in her 40s who is starting motherhood. I had my first baby at 40, my next one at 4. I will be having my next one at 43. I'm currently 23 weeks pregnant. And I'm just here to talk about what it's like to go from being a professional, going from all of my 20s and all of my 30s, working towards career goals, going to PT school, earning my doctorate, and then to becoming a stay-at-home mom. And what is that like? And so today what I want to talk about is, after working and achieving and being a business owner and being a type A person my whole life, is being a mom, is it enough? Is it honestly enough? So I was really confronted with this maybe a week ago when I went over to hang out with some girlfriends, and it was such a good time. But out of the three of us, I am the only one that has stayed home, or chosen to stay home because I could. And what ended up happening was they started talking about all of the things that they're doing at work, the things that they're achieving, the people they're influencing, the projects they're working on, the steps they're climbing, just all of the things I used to do, all of the things I used to talk about, all of the things that I valued and still actually value, but I'm no longer doing. And I spent the whole next day, really, I'll be honest with you, I'm actually working on not saying that anymore, down in the dumps. I was really upset about it. And it was because I wasn't feeling like enough. I was feeling like I wasn't achieving enough. I wasn't doing enough. I stay at home all day. I'm with my kid. I do my best to be the best, most present mom for her. And I was having a tough time because I was feeling like, because I wasn't producing and working in the working world, and the only thing I was doing and focusing on was raising and being with my child, that it just wasn't enough. I wasn't enough. I wasn't feeling like enough. And what's funny is, because if I was to write a list, because trust me, I've written a lot of lists of pros and cons to staying home and why I stay home, I am clear on all the reasons I stay home. I believe that it is the right thing for me and my family. I know that if I tried to work any more than the minimal amount that I do to maintain my physical therapy license, I would not be as present or as fun or as patient of a mother. I would be short. I would always have work on the back of my mind. The thing is, for me, I know that if I worked, I would not be able to put as much effort into my home life. I am one of those people that only has so much bandwidth. And if I take up a certain percentage of it at work, it doesn't matter how present I am at home. The part that I gave to work, I gave to work. I don't have it to give at home. And I'm not saying that all women or moms or parents are like that at all. I just think everybody has different capacities and bandwidth, and I know mine. Trust me, when I was figuring out whether or not I wanted to stay home, which was its own journey, I read books on it. I read All Joy and No Fun, which is about having kids. I read The Nurture Revolution, which I highly recommend. It was a very influential book for me. But I also interviewed a bunch of my mom friends. Though some of that were my age, who had kids, maybe 10, 12, 13, up to 15 years old. And then I also talked to people that had kids that were now moved out in their 20s and 30s. And the majority, not everyone, but the majority of people would say that if they had it to do over again, they would have stayed home more if they were working. I don't think that's necessarily true for everyone. That just happened to be the people I talked to. One very specific example was when I was telling one of my physician friends, she's a brilliant physician, a doctor, right? And I was telling her that I was going to be walking away from working for a while, and I was going to stay home. And she just looked at me with so much love. She was near retirement at the time, so her kids were grown, and she shared with me that, she goes, Andrea, if you want a clean house, and if you kind of want an easier life, and you want to be able to separate your home life from your work life, from your kids, and you still want to have some of the freedom to do what you want to do, go back to work and put your kids in daycare. You will have more time for you, and you will be able to do more of the things that you want to do. She goes, but if you want it to be hard, stay home. And she told me that even though that she personally went back to work, she spent some time at home and she eventually ended up going back to work. She said if she had to do all over again, she wishes she would have stayed home. And that even though she felt like her life was easier and her house was cleaner and it got more sleep when she was working, she felt like she missed something by not being home. So even though it's hard, and it is hard. It is hard in a way that I can't truly put words on, but being a stay-at-home mom is hard. And at times, I'll be trying not to say to be honest, but it can be incredibly lonely too. Because at least when you have work or you're going to work, you're going to go see the same people that you work with all the time, and you're going to work on things together, and you're going to collaborate and have conversations, and some of them will be social and some of them will be about work. I mean, it's all of it, right? But when you're a stay-at-home mom, if you don't have family or friends nearby, I mean, I have friends, they're close enough, but they're 15, 20, 30 minutes away, right? And I have family, but they have their own lives and they're busy, and as much as they want to hang out and participate, they actually also want to pursue their own desires too in retirement, which is beyond understandable. So being a stay-at-home mom can also be incredibly lonely because you kind of are alone unless you actively pursue going and hanging out and seeking those relationships, seeking those interactions. And when you're, at least in my experience, when I was working, I really didn't have to work that hard for that because it just was part of going to work. I mean, I ran a physical therapy clinic, so my staff, even though I tried to maintain a professional barrier between me being the manager in charge and them, being there for them, but not trying to be their friend necessarily, but being friendly. You know what I'm saying? The difference. There's a difference between trying to be friends with your manager and being friendly with your manager. But when push comes to shove, managers gotta do what you gotta do to either stand up for your staff or make sure that you're maintaining culture. And if you're too busy being a friend, you may give up some of your power to do that. So anyway, so I just want to talk about that sometimes, even though I am clear on why I am staying home and I have all of the reasons that I do it that I believe are best for me and my family and the upbringing of my child, I sometimes struggle with whether or not I feel like it's enough. Because at least when you're working, you feel like you're producing something you can see and that other people recognize. And when you're achieving, there are markers to demonstrate how far you've come. But when you're a stay-at-home mom, like myself, who's about to deliver her third baby in just a couple months, oh my gosh, a second baby in about 3 months, you just don't really have anything to show for your efforts. And then you're also a lot more, at least in my case, I would love to hear from other people if they have the same experience, but you're also just a lot more isolated. And sometimes it feels like, and I don't feel like in my heart of heart this is true, it just feels like this sometimes, that the world, society, people, they just value a working mom more than they do a stay-at-home mom. So that was just my most recent kind of struggle, I guess you would say, is continuing to understand why I do what I do the way that I'm doing it, even though it's hard and even though I miss feeling like a productive member of society. So if you guys have any of the same experiences, or you struggle with the same thing, or if you're a working mom and you wish you were staying home, or if you're a staying home mom and you wish you were working, or if you're a working mom and you are clear on why you're working, but sometimes it's hard, I'd love to hear about that. And if you're also a stay-at-home mom and you are clear on why you're staying home, but you also have these little struggles, I would love to hear about that. So I wish you all the best, and Thanks for listening. Bye.